when you're just using burner mode. The other one activates for the steam operation. Now into the burner here, so pressurized water comes into the unloader, comes out of the unloader and into the coil here. This is where the water is heated if you are using the hot side of the water or the hot side of the machine. So you come over here and this is the burner itself. You have an igniter, you have a combustion fan, you have your fuel pump here. So what happens is you turn that burner button on, this combustion fan starts to spin. There's a coupling through here, in between here on this fan that drives the fuel pump. When you do not have the trigger pulled, this fuel pump, there's a solenoid on here. It will be closed. It will not allow fuel to flow in here. It will just run in bypass mode. So it's gonna pump diesel up from the tank and then just run it right back down through the tank. The igniter here should be firing at all times. The combustion fan should be running at all times as long as you have that burner button on. When you pull the trigger, this pressure switch over here activates this fuel solenoid up here. The fuel solenoid opens up and it injects a fine mist of diesel fuel into the burner. The whole combustion process begins. You let off that trigger, this valve closes, cuts the fuel off, combustion is complete, stopped. Once you have water flowing through there again, it's going to open that fuel valve back up, let the fuel come through, and we're going to be combusting again or heating again. This pressure switch here, what this does is you only want this burner to work when you're moving water through here. If you notice you're not moving water through here, you can hear your burner running, shut the machine down. You've probably got a problem with this pressure switch here. If that happens, all you're doing in here is boiling all this water off and it has no place to go. So it turns into a hazard. Again, make sure that's only running when you're running water through it. Of course, you have your fuel tank here. This is the gasoline tank, powers the gasoline engine, which powers the pump and the generator. And then you have your diesel tank over here. The green tank is for the diesel fuel for your burner. You can run kerosene, number 1 or number 2 diesel in it, fuel heating oil, anything that burns that clean. I suggest just staying with what I told you with. Don't run any vegetable fuel, vegetable oil, or any cooking oils through it. It will gum the machine up, cause you issues. Once you're done with the heat, if you use the heat, make sure you shut the button down. You're gonna run some cold water through the machine for about a minute or 2. It's going to take all the heat that's trapped in this coil and just displace that heat elsewhere. If you just shut this down hot, there's the potential in here, since all this heat's trapped in here, it's just gonna boil off that water. You're gonna have residue and deposits build up on the coil. It's gonna shorten the lifespan of your coil, possibly cause some damage in there. Obviously, you don't want that. So make sure when you're done with this that you cool this down. I'm gonna come over here to the little cheat sheet, I call it. If you look on here, it tells you how to start everything up, how to shut it down. The pump priming, again, the pump priming I cover in the other video, show you physically how to do it. Also the winterization. Anytime this unit is anywhere where it might be freezing for even a second, you need to winterize this machine. Especially if you're going down the road, air blows in on this coil, it can freeze that coil up just in an instant. So make sure you winterize it and winterize it properly. Do it every time you need to, otherwise you're just gonna cause yourself a bunch of money and headaches. So we're gonna come up here to the front of the machine. Very simple. Come over here, fill up your gasoline, fill up your diesel, read the warnings. Tells you how to operate everything you need to. Again, your owner's manual, the cheat sheet does the same thing. Here we have storage for the nozzles. 2 of the nozzles you'll see are out right now. They're actually installed in the guns I used for testing. And I believe you guys are coming here for some training, so I just left that in the gun. Normally you can store them here. You can pull these out, put them back in the toolkit if you want, however you want to do it. This here is your nozzle for your steam. You have a dedicated steam wand, which is going to be always open and will plug in on the side here. Again, that is gone over in the operations video. Here you have your detergent valve. If you want to run detergent through your system instead of using the downstream chemical injector, you can do that also. That operates almost the same way. You dump this down into your chemical bucket here, open the steam valve up, open the detergent valve up, go ahead, grab your wand, turn it all the way down on the variable pressure side to 500 psi. This will start to siphon whatever chemical you have through the system. Read your owner's manual. It'll tell you what chemicals you can and cannot use. Do not use anything caustic or acidic, of course. As soon as you're done with this, close this up, pull this out of your bucket, run a nice steady stream of water through, because that'll displace any of the chemical that might still be in the system, because you don't want it sitting in there on your head or your seals. Again, make sure this is closed. If you leave this open while you're operating, you'll get some pulsating and a lack of pressure. You will definitely know if this is left open or if these go bad. So make sure that you close this after you're done every time. Over here we have the control panel. To start the machine, you're gonna pull the choke, turn the key. Once it starts, push your choke in, turn the key back to the off position, and it will stop. Here you have your thermostat. If you're gonna be using your normal burner without the steam option, do not go above 180 degrees. The way the coil is set up, the way the nozzles are set up, you're not going to get more than 180 degrees out of it. If you need more than 180 degrees, that's when you come up to your steam option. You wanna do the steam, turn your burner on, turn your steam on. You're gonna go around to the side, turn the unloader all the way down, which means turn it counterclockwise and open it up. Crank this thermostat all the way up and just go about your business with your steam nozzle. Once you're done, turn these both off. You can turn this down if you want to, you don't have to. Run water through until it's cold. Make sure you pull all that heat out of this coil just to save your coil there, and you don't boil anything off. Have an hour meter here. You also have an hour meter on the engine. They are not close. I don't know what it is, but this one reads a little bit faster than the other one. I actually believe the engine one reads slower. Just something for you to be aware of, nothing to worry about, but it's there. Reset button here is for the your generator power. Generator power comes into the circuit breaker. You come over here and you hit your burner button or your auxiliary button. For whatever reason you're not getting power, come over here, check your reset button first. So we'll go along to the back of the machine, and this is your auxiliary power unit right here. It's just 120 volt GFI reset. If you need a extension cord to use for something, plug in your cell phone to recharge it, whatever, that's here for you to use. That is on the auxiliary. It comes on and off with that switch. Over here we have our outlets. This is on a quick disconnect, so you can quickly disconnect this and plug in your steam hose. Over here you have a high limit switch. This comes to make sure that the machine doesn't get too hot. If this reaches over a certain temperature, should be like 325 degrees, it'll actually shut the machine down. I'm sorry, shut the heat side off. Over here it's a little difficult to see, is a probe for the thermostat. This is the pressure relief valve. This valve here, if it hits about between 4,000 and 4,200 psi, this valve will pop off. It'll bleed water off here, just like your thermal back there. There's some spring steel in here. This will reset if the pressure comes down, back down, but it will not reset on its own. You literally have to come over and shut the machine down, wait for this to reset. If it resets, go ahead and fire it back up. If it pops back off again, you need to check your system here, because you've got a problem, some kind of restriction that's causing you to have too much pressure. These will wear out over time also, just like the thermal relief valve there. The spring steel can rust, can get some debris in there, cause it to stick open. If you're having problems with this, if you even see as much of a drip from this, you want to replace this. Do not run this system without this in place. This is a safety that absolutely must be in place at all times. If you run without this, you're just asking for trouble. Again, if you see even as much as a drop here, get this replaced. If it's dripping, it's gonna suck air, it's gonna lose pressure, you're gonna have all kinds of problems. Just replace it as soon as you can. Quick disconnect fitting here. There's an O-ring in here, again, just like on the ends of your guns and wands and your hose reels there. If you notice it leaking there, go ahead and get that O-ring replaced. You got your Honda GX630 twin cylinder. There is a low oil mechanism on here, so if the machine runs low on oil, it will shut down. If it is low on oil to begin with, it will not start. Before every job, come over here, check your oil, you should be good to go. Fuel filter, read your manual, replace your fuel and oil as per the manufacturer's instructions. Over here you'll notice you have some primary controls on the engine. These are disabled. They all come from Honda like that. Everything is controlled via the ignition up there, and then there's a box here which will control the throttle. Standard 12-volt lawn and garden battery. You can pick these up anywhere, Walmart, AutoZone, any kind of auto parts store, Tractor Supply Corp, something like that. Really simple, really cheap to come by. And that really is pretty much everything you need to know. Got a vent there. Make sure you close your vents when you're riding down the street so nothing breaks. Pretty simple, pretty good solution. If you have any problems, you can reach us on the website, hotandmighty.com. Call us at the 1-800 number. Again, I urge you to read your manuals, check your manuals, check the cheat sheet, get all the information before you go to use the system. Thank you.